Hello, fellow translators. So today we should have an interesting one. I wanted to share some results I got. So I sent out this survey to all the freelance translators who are registered on the database of my company, of Lugano Translations. And it's from the point of view of the company, but I thought it would be some interesting results that I could share with you. So first of all, these are the questions that I asked. Would you say you work in freelance translation full-time, part-time, or other? Please complete the sentence. I am blank. It's either satisfied or unsatisfied with the number of clients I have. Next question, what is the main thing that annoys you about translation agencies? I left that open-ended. What is one thing you like about translation agencies or a particular agency you've worked with? Once again, open-ended. Which of these services do you think are most important for freelance translators? Resume, online profile review, one-on-one consulting, a book teaching you how to be a freelance translator, a course teaching you how to be a freelance translator, or other. And then any other comments. So obviously this is from the point of view of the agency and trying to get a better idea of what services I can offer and how to offer them, stuff like that, and kind of just get a feel of what's going on with my translators and how they feel about stuff. Let's go to the results. So this was anonymous, so I can share the results with you. And I thought it would be sort of interesting to go through them quickly. So let's see how I want to do this. I don't know, no. Let's show everything. These first things we don't care too much about, blah, blah, blah. Okay, would you say you work in freelance translation full-time, full-time, full-time? Yeah, mostly full-time. When work comes in, supposedly full-time, never that many hours, full-time, full-time. Are there any more? Yeah, full-time, full-time. So basically, almost everyone is full-time. Okay, and yeah, that's good. So, in fact, no one filled out part-time. Anyway, so here we go. Well, please complete the sentence. I am satisfied or unsatisfied. I imagine most people would put unsatisfied, but actually here we have more satisfied than I expected. But most are still unsatisfied. Yeah, unsatisfied, unsatisfied. That's sort of what I expected. Let's go on to the next one. Sorry if it seems like I'm racing a bit. I actually recorded this earlier, but then it kind of didn't come out, and so I'm recording this for the second time. But anyway, let's go through this. What's the main thing that annoys you about translation agencies? They start with a T. Okay, this first person, whoever it was, obviously, I mean, it's anonymous, so I have no idea, but I think they were a troll because their answers are kind of weird. But anyway, let's go to what's the main thing that annoys you about translation agencies? Let's go through these. Offering a project, not giving reasonable time to respond before giving it to another vendor. Yeah, this has to do with the video that I did recently as well, I think. Project management software. People are using this software, and what this software does is that the first person to respond gets the job. And so, yeah, very often, and the first person to respond is not necessarily the best person to do the job. In fact, it's very rarely so. So this can be an issue. Go check out the other video that I did, which was based on an article, an excellent article by Ione Spuzzi, which addresses this a bit more in detail. Lower rate pay, low rates. Yeah, this is kind of what I expected, the low rate to be a big thing. Low rate, lack of transparency. First come, first serve basis. They assign to projects. Once again, first come, first serve. That has to do with PM software, downright unprofessional deadlines, the humiliating rates. Yeah. This is a long response. Admin. So the problem with admin in contracts, silly clauses in contracts. Example, to check you're doing things right to maintain confidentiality, we have to access your computer. I breach confidentiality. I've never been asked to access my computer by an agency, and yeah, that would definitely be a red flag if they do. No agency should have to access your personal computer if you're a freelancer and working on your personal computer. That just seems really weird. I don't see why they would have to do that. Access to the file, put the file in a shared folder, fine, but not access to your computer. That's just weird. Or we, the agency, own everything you produce in association with the translation. So yeah, this can be an issue about owning everything. But this has to do more with, like, if you're translating, say, articles or more likely books, that you want your name associated with them, then you can sort of try to finagle something. But I mean, for the most part, yeah, you translate something, the agency owns it. I mean, if you're translating a legal contract or financials, like you can't then spread that information around. In fact, many times they make you sign an NDA or something along those lines. But yeah, you do it and then the company owns it. Let's see. My accounts are something I produce in association with the translation agents, with the translation. Okay, the agency never has the right to own them or anything else I produce. Whilst I'm doing a translation, belongs to me and me alone. Okay, that's very weird. I've never. So no, I mean, not. Unless I understand this incorrectly, I think this is quite wrong. You do not own the translation that you work on. You are you are a provider for this agency or for the end client or whoever it might be. And so no matter what you're translating, whether it be the website, whether it be their pamphlet or marketing material, whether it be a contract or what personal correspondence, financial, whatever you're translating, then goes back to the client and you get paid for it, and that's it. It's very rare that they list the name of the translator. I mean, honestly, they have books out there where they don't have the name of the translator, and the translator doesn't own the material regardless. I don't know if this is in. I can't tell if this has to do with anything specific that I'm missing, or maybe I'm not understanding correctly. But no, you don't own what you produce. The only thing I can think of here is that possibly what I have seen sometimes on invoices is that people will write something like the translator owns all material, or all material is copyright of the translator, whatever, until full payment is made, and so it's contingent upon payment. And so, yeah, you can do that. You can try that, let's say. And so that means that the client is not allowed to publish or to post any of your translations or any of the material you translated until they've paid you in full. That you can do, but I'm sorry, you don't own the translation you work on. This seems a bit odd, unless I misunderstood. Other typical complaints: too much competition on price, same per word price regardless of the type of text, impersonal, unpredictable. Yeah, these... once again, it has to do with PM software, and yeah. Though there are many very good agencies, at least in terms of personal side, not much on the price side. Yeah, and that's true as well. They offer very low rates. Low rates is, yeah, sort of the main thing I expected. Once again, their instructions sometimes very unclear. In the end, they almost never pay on time. Yeah, instructions can be an odd thing. Many times I find myself, so with the agencies or with the clients, and the clients are much worse than agencies, by the way. But yeah, I find myself having to repeat what I'm going to do and exactly how, just to make sure we're both on the same page. Deadline, yeah, the deadlines can sometimes be really annoying. Delay in payment, yeah, that is another big thing. You always have to chase the payments, and always have to remind them that they owe you money, etc., etc. Whoa, here. Okay, usually I get asked to work at completely random hours of the day, anywhere from 4 a.m. to 2 p.m., and the PMs tend to rush you along and do unnecessary checkups while you're working. The agencies that use vendor portals where you can mark your availability tend to ignore your set hours and holidays. Then when it comes to getting paid, you get your money anywhere from 15 to 90 days after. So yeah. So about the random hours of the day, that's one of the things about being a freelancer. You're going to be all over the world, and your client will be somewhere else in the world. And yeah, you can fill out the hours that you're available, but yeah, unfortunately with these companies, what happens is you fill them out, but then some random PM or some random other person is just trying to, juggle a bunch of stuff, including something that needs to be translated in, say, 6 different languages, and they're contacting a bunch of translators. And so, in a way, they're kind of too rushed to check the timetable. And there, I feel it's always up to me. And, I can say, look, it's 4 a.m. here, or, whatever it is, it's midnight. I can work on it as soon as I wake up, but otherwise I can't, and see what they say. Or, if I'm willing to pull an all-nighter, and I certainly have, then I'll do that. But, I'll also let them know, okay, but it's midnight here, and so I'm either pulling an all-nighter or something like that. And that's perfectly fine, by the way. And I've had my translators tell me that very often. And, I'll assign something, they're like, okay, but it's late at night here, so I'm going to work on it tomorrow morning. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. If it's a rush job, then that's different. Then, and when I did pull all-nighters, it was for rush jobs and all that. I try to stay away from rush jobs whenever I can, because I think a lot of baggage comes with them, and I've talked about that in videos before. But yeah, many times you kind of have to remind them and say, oh no, sorry, I'm not available for this time, or something like that. Because they're kind of flaky or scatterbrained or got too much going on, and they won't check up on it. Then when it gets time to payment, yeah, from 15 to 90 days after submitting work, and that sucks. 90 days is a lot. After a while, in fact, I'd make it 30 days, and that was it. But I went down. It was 9, because I got something that was 90, and that was too much. So I put it down to 60 max, but then that was too much too. So I had 45, blah, blah, blah. And so you kind of see what's best for you, but I wouldn't accept, anything more than 60 days is There's no real reason to do that unless they have a problem with cash flow, in which case you probably don't want to deal with them. By the way, I pay all my translators. Well, first of all, they're supposed to pay you before they get paid. Regardless of whether they get paid, they're supposed to pay you. So it shouldn't be contingent on them getting paid by the end client. So it should have nothing to do with that. I can see 30 days because sometimes they need, for the invoice, the accounting, it goes month by month, fine. But anything more than that to me seems a bit too much. I always pay my translators, in less than 30 days, definitely, usually in a few days, once everything has been checked and confirmed. So then nothing in particular. I've been working with agencies that haven't annoyed me so far. You're lucky. They usually answer to translation applications after a long time. This can happen too. They just keep your application there. And I'm guilty of this too, by the way. I have people in my database and I just don't have languages in their combination. So, I'm not contacting you. Like someone might have a Danish to French expertise or something and I just don't have that. But then a year later down the line, I do have it and I'll contact them out of the blue. And so, yeah, unfortunately, this happens as well. They want to lower rates too often too impersonal. Yeah, and again, this is an issue. So let's keep moving on. What's the good thing you like? Oh, wait. What's one thing you like about translation agencies? They give me cookie shaped like letters. I think this is a troll guy. So personal connection with project managers who learn to trust me and know that I will give them the best service. So that's good. When you can get that personal connection, that's great. And I can attest that as an agency, it's really good when you get a personal connection with the translator as well. And you understand what they can do, how they can do it, blah, blah, blah. Good relationship, yes. Most of them are easy to work with. Lucky you. Well, yeah, and many of them are at the end of the day. Easier to deal with than direct clients. Extremely true. Direct clients can be a mess. And again, it's not their fault. It's just because they're not in the industry. You have to educate them, sort of. Variety of texts, that's true as well. Love to work with agencies that tailor their projects on the translators and nurture consistency. It's great to cooperate with people who value your time, hard work, and creativity and are thankful for your expertise instead of expecting gratitude for petty cash. Once again, the personal connection, I think, is developing into a theme. Get a job, do a job, get paid for a job, no fuss, no hassle, no waiting around. Okay, so this is the opposite, actually. This person likes the fact that you don't need too much of a personal connection, which honestly I can understand as well. For those of us who are more introverted, which I think is a lot of us since we work online and not face-to-face, being able to be assigned a job, do it, and get paid for it, as long as everyone's being professional, it can make life a lot more simple. So I understand that point as well. Often more straightforward than a direct client. Yes, definitely. Less need to explain translation technical things. Yeah, and more and steadier work. Yes, again, with an agency, you definitely get steadier work than with a direct client. Project managers I communicate with on a daily basis are friendly and helpful. That's good. For references, I don't know what that means. Sorry. The constant flow of projects. Yeah, once again, that's definitely better than with the things with direct clients. So now, which of these services do you think are most important for freelance translators? So these are the list of services that I offer, and I kind of want to get an idea. It seems that most of them, like the resume online profile, I have one for online consulting, one each for the course and the book, none of the above. Resume online profile, let's go down, resume online profile, one-on-one consulting, and of course teaching how to be a freelance translator. So resume online profile seems to be what most people need or want. And I'm so bad at marketing this stuff because even in this survey, I don't think I specified, oh, I offer this service. But anyway, hopefully they know. So any other comments? No, good, sir. That's good. No. So here. I've been a freelance translator for 20 years without the need for any of the above. I don't need to be taught how to be what I already am. Yeah, if you've been doing it for 20 years, you definitely don't. Useful topics, however, help with marketing. Yes, that's part of the course and book. I'm a translator, not a salesperson. Of course, help how to deal with annoying agencies. I live and work alone, don't spend a lot of time with people. Yeah, and I mean, actually, well, that's sort of covered with the book as well. It depends what you mean by annoying, but yeah, definitely dealing with some of the issues with agencies. How to get work coming in more regularly, yeah, and that will have to do with marketing at the end of the day. Thanks. You're welcome. One thing I like to see is some ability to prove I have experience and better feedback in general. With all the NDAs that we sign an anonymity of work for a translation team, it can be hard to prove how much work and expertise you actually have. I'd love it if PMs would request some reviews from clients and maybe reviews from my agencies every once in a while. I know there's business secrets involved and agencies don't want to share talent, but a generic so-and-so translated 48 press releases for a sawmill and got full customer satisfaction would be nice to have. After all, you don't always have to have work for all of us, and we can't always show off our portfolios without breaching contracts, and so we have to take pointless unpaid attitude tests over and over, even if we have 10 years of experience. So this is quite true. So I want to address this quickly. Because yeah, very often you'll be working for clients here and there and this and that and the other, and you have no idea if they're really happy with you, if they're just using you just cause, if the end client is happy with you or stuff like that. And it's good to get feedback every now and then. I started after a while asking for feedback, and you know, every now and then, like every quarter, or the end of the year, or whatever, I'd be like, oh, by the way, how have I been doing? Have there been any problems and stuff like that? It always really depended on the end client. You know, those I felt more comfortable with are the ones I would ask. But no one really stops you from asking, especially if you know someone, say, on a first name basis and you deal with the same contact. Feel free to shoot them an email at some point. You know, after you're done with the job, get paid, you can say, oh, thank you. You know, I confirmed that I just received payments. By the way, in these past 4 months and the stuff I've been working on, I haven't been getting any feedback, so I'd love if you could let me know if you know, I've been doing a good job, if there are things I could work on, and stuff like that, and kind of just see what they say. Usually, depending once again on the relationship, the rapport you have with them, they'll be happy to reply. In fact, because they know it will improve their relationship with you and the output and your output as a translator, and so they'll be happy to reply and give you some feedback. I'm not sure necessarily from the end client if they can get it, but you can always check with them and see. Kind of get a feel. I would do this with the agencies you feel most comfortable with. Once again, people you know on a first name basis, people you deal with regularly, and that you feel more comfortable with at the end of the day. So yeah, and then there's the second part. Then there's another thing. I've worked for one of my agencies for 5 years, and the only reason I know I'm any good as a translator is because they keep assigning me projects. If you send your translation into the void, it's like you send your translation into the void. But the one time I sent a project to the wrong email address, they thought I missed the deadline. They actually found my phone to yell at me at 7 in the morning. Yeah, this can happen as well. And you know, and that's the thing. You can work for an agency for 5 years, but you don't have a good rapport with them, just because they see you as a cog in the machine, if you will. And unfortunately, this happens as well. You know, that's why it's a judgment call. By the way, and that phone call though, I've learned to not expect the worst in people, and very often it's just because they're flaky. Like, they might have just been panicking, and they might just be like, oh my God, what do I do, what do I do? And so then that's why they call you at 7 in the morning, because they have their client, and they're panicking and don't know what to do. Ideally, then later they would either apologize or say, oh, you know, and it was sorry about that, but I was really just panicking at the time because I didn't know where to get it, and the client was asking for it, and so I overreacted or something like that. Ideally, they could do that, because I find that more often than not, that's the reason why they'll do those phone calls at 7 in the morning, right? Because it's something going on their side and it's nothing to do with you. Anyway. That's pretty much it. I hope you found this interesting, and feel free to let me know what your thoughts are on any of these questions, quite frankly, because once again, I sent it to the translators who are registered on my website, on my database, but I'm sure many of you are not registered, and so you might have some thoughts. I'd love to hear about them. And just so I can get a better idea as an agency, how I can provide better for my translators in terms of, you know, dealing with them day to day with the translations, but also with these extra things that I'm trying to offer here, the resume online review, the one-on-one consulting, and the course in the book. Because I want to get a better feel. Here it seems like the resume and online profile review is the main thing, which is something I offer, and so I should probably do a better job of marketing that. But anyway, feel free to let me know any thoughts you might have. I'd be very curious to hear, and hopefully you found this interesting to see what some other fellow freelance translators are saying, are thinking, and are doing, and their thoughts and feelings about things having to do with translation and working as freelance translators. I think it always helps to get feedback, to get some input from other translators, especially when you're kind of all alone in the world doing your thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, thanks. Bye. Savedum.